Okay, guys, this is Reverend Sean again, and we're going to talk a little bit about something that shows up an awful lot in discussions, especially on a lot of the social media, and that's the attainment of enlightenment. The attainment of enlightenment, I think, is a way oversold concept. Now, everybody seems to want to get there. No one seems to ever get there. It's one of those, like, it's a big golden carrot that's in front of everybody, and as soon as you think you've got it, you don't, kind of idea. But I really think, and this is in my practice and the practice I've spoken to other monks and other monks and nuns and priests and whatever you have, that's although it's a big goal in Buddhism, it's like the big goal and the big achievement. It's don't make it a focus, I think, because if you make it a focus, you're never going to get there. Notice how it's a takeaway. When you see many teachers, they talk about how this great enlightenment's going to happen. You're going to receive enlightenment. You're going to get all this stuff. It's like going to heaven. It's like it's a great place that nobody really wants to go to. Nobody wants to die to get there. They all want to be there. They all want to talk about it. They all want to think about how wonderful it is. But when you say, well, let's go right now, no one wants to go. They don't want to talk about death. That seems very morbid, and they think it's a bad topic to talk about, or something unsavory kind of thing. Same thing with enlightenment, really, is you have people talk about this is how to get to enlightenment. These are the steps to do to get into enlightenment. So work so hard, but you're never going to get there because your master didn't get there, your teacher didn't get there. There's only been very few of these people who get there, and if you get there, you're lying. You're saying that you got there and you really didn't. This goes back kind of like to Lao Tzu, where he says, those who talk about the Tao don't know the Tao, and those who know the Tao don't talk about it kind of idea. It's the same kind of thing. It's this big psychological takeaway and psychological sales pitch, really, to make sure that you understand that even though you're in the chosen and the only correct way of doing things, which you hear an awful lot in different forms of Buddhism and the different sects and groups. So let go of that crap. That actually is a lot of crap, because thinking that there's only one single way to get there, obviously there's got to be more, because you've got at least Theravada, Mahayana, Chan Zen, and Vajrayana out there, and they all claim to have enlightened masters. Everybody goes back to the first, couple here and there. I mean, they talk about the Bodhidharma and Zhuangzi and all these, all these other like great masters, enlightened masters, Ananda and whoever, whatever. Anyway, there's all of these ones, and even some of them had like dreams that made them enlightened. So don't worry about it, man. I mean, if you're going to practice this kind of stuff for meditation or for a philosophical exploration, or a spiritual exploration, or a religious exploration, I think you should do all of them. You should at least step into the realm of each of those, because it's important. People keep saying, oh, religion, it's not a religion because of this, it's a way of life, and that's another just BS way to get out of doing things, really. You got to do things right. You got to pick the right way for you. Now, if you're going to go to get yourself into Theravada, you got to understand that's Southeast Asia. So you're going to have a lot of different Southeast Asian influences, and there's cultural influences, and other religion influences in there. Like in Vajrayana, there's a cultural influence, because these people lived in the mountains. They lived way up high, and it's a different lifestyle. It's a different way of survival. They had a different religion, which was called the Bon religion. Before that, they had Hinduism that kind of worked its way through. In some areas, they even have Islam that has worked its way through. Not that it had a great influence on it, but it changed the way that they react with people. Same thing with Mahayana. You have the Chinese as the Taoist kind of idea, and some other like ancestor worship. Same thing in Japan. You have Shinto, and you have also some of the Taoist stuff that came over. Now, you have to find the one that works for you, and you are going to develop your own form, your own flavor of Buddhism, if it will, because in the West, what are we going to have? I remember talking with a couple guys who are actually pretty up there now with Buddhist teachings. All right, so one of the things that in Vajrayana and Theravada and all of these things, these friends of mine, they are, well respected, and they're well accomplished. I mean, these guys are well studied. I mean, the guys got their PhDs and masters and stuff in Buddhist studies and things like that. And they've spent time in Japan, they've spent time in Asia, they've spent time in Japan, China, they've spent time in Taiwan, they've spent time in Sri Lanka and Thailand, and all of these great places where you see a lot of very, very, very serious scholastic and high level study of Buddhism and translations of it as well. I have some friends who are translators as well. And one of the things is they all talk about how, like enlightenment really isn't the thing we should all be worried about. We should be worried about our daily practice, and our daily practice has to be it. Now in the West, what's that going to look like? One of them actually said to me, he said, are we going to have like monster trucks and baseball caps and belt buckles? Maybe. We might. Barbecues? I don't know. Maybe. It may be something like that. It may be something very cowboyish, because in the West we're considered kind of cowboy-ish, whatever. But in the West, I mean, we're talking like Europe and United States, Canada, and even like South America and even Central America too. I mean, we have a lot of Buddhists showing up in there, and they're adding in their things. So you're seeing things like Santeria and maybe some of that kind of like work its way in. You're seeing some pagan kind of things work its way into Buddhism, which is fine as long as you understand that those were add-ons. As long as you understand that you can go back to the original documents and start to understand it from there. Now, you're going to have to understand it from your own point of view anyway, your own culture, your own family, your religion that you came from. You're going to use that as a reference point, which is fine. Remember, most of the Buddhist translations of all of these these books and all this kind of stuff came from either the Portuguese, the Germans, the English, French, missionaries who went to Asia, found Buddhism and said, hey, this is pretty interesting. I want to translate it for prosperity, and because, we're going to wipe it out because we're Christian and everybody's going to convert to Christianity anyway, so let's, write it down at least, and it'll be an anecdote to how great we are. And some of them, of course, they studied it very seriously, and some of them became convinced and started practicing Buddhism, and many of them saw the comparative points of Buddhism, which I really like. I mean, we want to see the similarities, and that way we can sit down and talk about our similarities rather than our differences, because our differences are very easy to find, but the similarities are a little bit harder. They're very much on the surface, though. Very simple. It's like be cool and groovy and whatever, take naps and clean yourself. I mean, it's all basic stuff. So don't worry about the big goal that you can't reach. Okay, it's like enjoy climbing the mountain. Enjoy tending your garden. Enjoy pulling little weeds. You don't have to worry about making the biggest pumpkin or getting to the summit of Mount Everest. It's not that big. I mean, at the end, so what? It's the same thing too. They always say, before enlightenment, carry water and chop wood. After enlightenment, carry water and chop wood. So what the hell? Why do you worry about it? Don't worry about it. Do the practice. Every day, a little bit of practice is probably better than trying to really focus on this enlightenment thing and never getting there, or getting disappointed, or getting frustrated. So don't get frustrated. Keep working towards it. And remember, in a lot of times, especially in Zen and Japanese Buddhism, and a lot of times in Chan and Chinese Buddhism, enlightenment, and even in Theravada, remember when the Buddha held up the flower? Enlightenment happened like that. This is Reverend Sean over the Centered Path. Don't forget to walk with me. Let's take a little stroll on the path together. I'll show you what I've seen, and you can show me what you've seen. Make a comment below and tell me what you think about that, and then give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to see the rest of them, and don't forget to go to the website, which is the centeredpath.org, and look up in the corner is a download section where you can download the cheat sheet and some other documentation that we have for that. It's a totally free class, and don't forget to watch them on here on YouTube. It's I think it's a playlist called the Basic Buddhist Class or something like that. Anyway, this is Reverend Sean, and you guys take care, and may you all be enlightened. And since we all have Buddha nature, we already are all anyway, right? So just try to get to know ourselves. Bye.